Welcome to page 11 of your linear equations packet. On this page, we're going to be writing a linear equation based on information given in a table of values. For each of these tables, we're going to write an equation that connects your x coordinate, your input value, to your y coordinate, your output value. Remember, as you write these equations, this is the format you will use, and you need to determine the slope, the n value, and you need to determine the b, the y-intercept. For slope, of course, that's your delta y over your delta x, your change in y over your change in x. So for each case, we're going to look at that ratio, your rise over run. And then for your y-intercept, we're going to look at the table and see if we're given the y-intercept. Of course, your x value would be 0. But there are many cases where you're not given that intercept on the table, and you're going to have to do a little detective work to figure that out. Let's start with the slope in each case. Down the y side of each table, please mark that delta y. And down the x column, please mark that delta x. In each case, as we're looking at the change in y and the change in x, we're going to be very conscious of the fact, is it increasing as we move along, or is it decreasing? If it's decreasing, it's negative. If it's increasing, it's positive. For example, let's start with our first table. As we go from negative 11 to negative 5, we increase by 6. From negative 5 to positive 1, same thing. And from 1 to 7, it's a gain of 6. And as we move down this side, it's a gain of 2. From negative 2 to 0, it's a gain of 2. And finally, a gain of 2. So you're going to figure or calculate the slope. Positive 6 over positive 2 makes an m value of 3. That's our slope. For our b value, check out the table. We've been given the intercept. So on your own, write an equation for this particular table of values. At the end, we will check it together. Let's take a look at problem number 2. In this case, as we examine our delta y, how our y values are changing, we see that in each and every case, we grow by 4. But if you look at your x values, they are decreasing in value. From 14 down to 12, it's a loss of 2. From 12 to 10, a loss of 2. And from 10 to 8, a loss of 2. So really, we have positive 4 divided by negative 2. That ends up being a negative slope of negative 2. Now, we're not given the y-intercept here, so the detective work begins. We know we're going to have an equation that looks like this. mx plus b equals y. We know the m is negative 2 times x blank blank equals y. Grab one of the ordered pairs from the table and try to make the connection. Let's just grab this one. Negative 2 times 8 blank blank I need to arrive at positive 18. Well, if you have negative 2 times 8, that's a negative 16. What would you have to add to a negative 16 to arrive at 18, an output of 18? You would have to add 34. Let's try another one. Let's try and connect 10 as an input value to an output of 14. Negative 2 times 10 blank blank equals 14. Well, negative 2 times 10 is a negative 20. What would you have to add in order to arrive at an output of 14? Again, it's 34. So that confirms our suspicions. And the equation is negative 2 times x plus 34 equals y. That's how our x's are connected to our y's for this particular table. And one more. Let's take a look at the bottom. Problem number 3. As we look at our delta y values, we see from 6 to 10, we increase by 4. But from 10 to 18, we grow by 8. And from 18 to 20, we grow by 2. Not necessarily a consistent pattern, but as we look at our delta x values, we grow by 2, then we grow by 4, and then we only grow by 1. In order to find your slope, your delta y over delta x ratio, take each rise and run, 4 over 2, 8 over 4, and set up those ratios, 2 over 1. You can see as we divide and simplify, each of these has a consistent value of 2. So our slope, our m value, is 2. So as we write our equation, mx plus b equals y, we know the slope is 2. 2 times every x blank blank equals y. Let's go back to the table. Did they include a y-intercept on the table? Well, we're looking for an x value of 0, and as you can see, they did not. So it's your job to connect 2 to 6, 4 to 10, and 8 to 18, etc., to come up with the y-intercept. Start by taking an x of 2. 2 times 2 blank blank equals an output value of 6. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. What would you have to add to 4 in order to produce an output of 6? Of course, it's plus 2. So we think it's 2 times every x plus 2 equals y. But double check it. See if 4 will connect with 10 and confirm it. If it does, this is your equation for the table of values. Go back and finish problem number 1 and check it at the end of the video. You can pause your video right now and complete problem number 1. For problem number 1, mx plus b equals y. Our slope is 3. 3 times x. Here is our intercept, plus 1 equals y. Now you can double check this by trying to make a connection. Let's say 2 to 7. 3 times an x of 2 plus 1 equals y. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 indeed gives us an output value of 7. It works. This is our equation for this particular table. So now you should be able to write equations given a table of values. This concludes page 11.